Welcome to Q&A, Social Security Disability Today. This program is brought to you by the Reeves Law Firm, representing you and your Social Security and disability needs. If you have a problem or questions regarding Social Security and disability, call attorney Anthony Reeves. Here's your host, attorney Anthony Reeves.
Okay, let's get this shaking going. Okay, what does it mean if I don't have enough quarters? Long story short means you haven't worked long enough and paid enough into Social Security in order to get the coverage to apply for Social Security disability benefits. Now, because I've had people pop up to me and say, I've worked all my life, I don't understand. No. The magic inquiry is, have you worked within the last, basically 5 of the last 10 years? It's 20 of the last 4. It's like 20 out of the last 40 quarters. Okay, which is basically, have you worked consistently and earned? And this is where it gets tricky. It's not have you worked. Have you worked within the last 5 of the last 10 years, and have you earned enough quarters of coverage? For instance, I remember, and I think the dollar amount is up to like $1,100, and $1,100 gets you a quarter of coverage. Okay, and you get, for lack of better words, 4 quarters in a year. So if you make $1,000 in a particular quarter, you get a quarter of coverage. And basically it's 4 quarters, because it's 4 quarters in a year, 4 quarters of coverage. So you basically have to work 5 years to get 20 quarters. Okay, 4 quarters 1 year, times 5 is 20. So what happens is they use that window of those quarters within that 40 quarter window. So basically within that 5-10 years to determine what's your eligibility date for purposes of being insured for Social Security. Now, let me tell you where this typically pops up. People who work sporadically, meaning they worked a few years, something happens, they took care of a family member, they went to jail, okay, whatever, they stopped working, they got laid off, whatever the case may be. And I always tell people is that the reality is Social Security calculating your quarters is a technical issue, not a disability issue, it's a technical issue. If you think that you've worked more than what Social Security says, you need to show them. Provide them tax information, provide them pay stubs, whatever the case may be. Because the simple fact of the matter is, if you have not worked long enough in order for you to get quarters of coverage, guess what? When you apply for Social Security, they're not gonna even look to the medical portion because you don't satisfy the technical portion. So when they're telling you this, they're basically telling that, hey, you may have worked, but you haven't worked enough to get coverage for purposes of insurance benefits for disability within the Social Security Administration. And like I tell people all the time, because people come to me saying, well, can I appeal this? I said, it's really nothing to appeal. Did you work the amount of time they said? Yeah. Do you have anything to show that you worked more? Well, no. Then what do you want me to do? There's nothing I can do about that. You have to basically look at the earnings that they have. And if they missed, let's say, for instance, that they say that there was like 4 or 5 quarters that you didn't work when you know you did, and you file taxes according to that, well, you need to go and you need to show it to them. Because you bear the burden of proving you're disabled, but you also need to show them that you have enough coverage as well. Usually those things they can calculate fairly quickly for you, but don't let yourself sit there and get mad all stank. Go and look to see what they have. Because the reality is that if you don't have any quarters of coverage, there's nothing that really somebody like me can do anything about.